I'd like to introduce now the National President for the American Veterans for Equal Rights, Danny Ingram.
For those of you who do not know, several years ago, Congress passed a law or a resolution that all veterans, when they do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, whether indoors or outdoors, wearing cover or not, that's a hat, you can render the salute. So when you say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, do not place your hand over your heart. Render a military salute as a veteran. That's a right that you earned and was given to you by the Congress of the United States. It is a great pleasure to be here in Palm Springs. I am absolutely in love with this place. There are few places in the world where you can be 50 years old and still be chicken. And in the spring of 1994, I have the rare distinction of being one of the first service members in the United States to be discharged under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell law. But here we are, all these years later. I got called into my commander's office. He was Latino. Our first sergeant was African American. He called me into the office. The three of us were there, only the three. And he said, "Sergeant Ingram, my granddaddy had to get his ass kicked so that I could serve in the United States Army." And he looked over at the first sergeant, who was African American, and he said, "The first sergeant's granddaddy had to get his ass kicked so that the first sergeant could serve in the same U.S. Army as you and I." And then he said, "Now, Sergeant Ingram, you are going to get your ass kicked so that your people can someday serve in the United States Army like the rest of us." Well, here we are, just about 20 years and a generation later, and it seems that it has come to pass. This little book in my hand is not the Bible. It is not a religious document of any type. It is the Constitution of the United States of America that each and every one of you, and along with me, took an oath to defend. And it has changed a little bit over the years, and some of you may have actually taken an oath to defend a little bit different version than the one I took, but I think this was in there at the time. "No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." Now, if you ever took an oath to defend this document, and anyone serving, past or present, took an oath to defend this document, and they support keeping LGBT people out of the military, and they support denying the right of our people to marry, then they have already broken their oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. Along with being the national president of American Veterans for Equal Rights, I am also a life member of Veterans for Peace and a life member of Post 448, the Alexander Hamilton branch post of the American Legion. So this is one of the first, probably will be the only, event where I feel very, very truly at home. Unlike a lot of people, I did not wake up or be born into this country thinking that all of the great privileges that I enjoyed had always just been there for me. They were there because the people who came before me made sacrifices to put them there. And I cannot say enough that in a community that so often devalues our elders, that I would not be talking today about the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell if it were not for LGBT seniors who fought for this country in World War II and Korea and Vietnam and came home and said, I will not live in the closet anymore. Many of you people here today made the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell possible, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the sacrifices that you made, because it was tough and you did it anyway. And I thank you, and I thank all of you for your service to our country. American Veterans for Equal Rights instituted a policy this year of free lifetime membership to any veteran over the age of 80. Little did I know that I would lose more than half the dues of the Palm Springs chapter of American Veterans for Equal Rights when we instituted that policy. But I would at this time like to honor those members 80 and over, and you should be damn proud of it because this is a fine-looking group, who are members of American Veterans for Equal Rights. In recognition of his distinguished service in the United States Army during the Korean War, of his faithful stewardship of liberty in raising up our great nation as a champion of freedom for all the world, and his dedication to the right of every American to serve with integrity, justice, and honor in the defense of our United States Constitution, James M. Sheehy is hereby, with heartfelt honor, awarded lifetime membership. In recognition of his 41 years of distinguished service in the defense of the United States Constitution, of his faithful stewardship of liberty in raising up our great nation as a champion of freedom for all the world, and his courage, commitment, and dedication to the right of every American to serve with integrity, justice, and honor in the United States Armed Forces, General Keith H. Kerr is hereby awarded lifetime membership in American Veterans for Equal Rights. That was one of those displays of affection that you're not supposed to do. And it's probably the only time that you will ever see a junior level enlisted person give an award to a general. And a hug. During the Korean War, Melvin Reiser. Will you please rise? Thank you. Thank you for your service. During the Korean War, Arthur R. Bolton. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The United States Army and the United States Navy during the Korean and Vietnam Wars, Mr. Tips, Millard M. Tips. And this last one, I'm going to read the whole thing, because this one's really special. In recognition of his distinguished service in the United States Army Air Corps during World War II, of his subsequent 30 years of service during the Korean War and the Vietnam War, as one of the founding members of the United States Air Force, of his faithful stewardship of liberty and raising up our great nation as a champion of freedom for all the world, and his dedication to the right of every American to serve with integrity, justice, and honor in the defense of our United States Constitution, Raymond C. Aiken, Jr. is hereby, with heartfelt honor, awarded lifetime membership. What was done to our Vietnam veterans when they returned from war in Vietnam was a shameful blight on the history of this country. And I can tell you this, as a veteran service organization, when these men and women return from Afghanistan and Iraq, I don't care if we have to raise taxes until your eyes bleed. We will take care of our service members returning from Afghanistan and Iraq. The decision to go to war is a decision to take care of those you send to fight it. If you don't want to take care of them, don't go to war. And I will close with this. Jimmy Carter said, "War may sometimes be a necessary evil, but no matter how necessary, it's still evil." I would like to add a corollary to that. If it's not necessary, it's just evil.
Tom, thank you very much for inviting me to do this. I just want to say that this memorial shows the continuing evolution of our unique form of democracy in this country. As veterans, we all swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. It has been our honor to do that and to work for the lifting of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell ban is very, very much in line with the oath that each of us took to uphold the Constitution, and this memorial is a great way of honoring all the people who have worked to uphold the Constitution and to get to this point today where everyone can serve in the military.